Greetings to us and welcome to another video. So we're going to move away from Legacy of Destruction for a bit and we're going to go back to Infinite Forbidden. Infinite Forbidden has almost its entire roster revealed, and there was one card that has been very talked about in the past week that kind of fell into the waters because of Legacy of Destruction releases happening around the same time, and that card is Multchummy Purulia. So, Multchummy Purulia is a level 4 Aqua monster, and it reads you can only use this effect once per turn. If you control no cards, you can discard this card, activate one of these effects. Each time your opponent normal summon or special summons a monster, you immediately draw one card. During the end phase, if you have more cards in your hand than the number of cards your opponent controls plus 6, shuffle random cards from your hand into a deck equal to the difference. A lot of YouTubers already talked about this card. They already gave a lot of their thoughts and implications on this. People are calling it better Maxx C. I kind of wanted to share a few delegations regarding this. The first thing I want to talk about is this clause right here. You can only activate the effect of other Multchummy monsters once per turn when you're activating this card effect. Some people uh, are mistaking how this card is worded. Some people are thinking that, like, if you negate the activation, you can reactivate it. Um, they're talking about how you can only activate like this effect once. And for those confused on how this card operates, uh, the turn you activate this card, you can only activate one other Multchummy monster. That already tells you that Konami plans to release more Multchummy monsters besides just Purulia. Whether they'll be level 4 or they'll be aqua or they'll be water type, that is soon for us to like see in a foreseeable future. I feel like the way they're going to release the Multchummy monsters are similar how they released the Ghost Sisters. They're just going to like print them like on like a different Multchummy for each wave, like main deck booster set. And uh, after we get enough Multchummy monsters, they might just like become their own thing. The other prediction that I have is that the other Multchummy monsters are probably going to be monsters that operate under other summoning conditions. This one specifically works upon normal summons and special summons from the hand. I'm thinking in the future we might get like Multchummy monsters that just operate from special summoning from the graveyard, or special summoning from the extra deck, or special summoning from like banished, so on and so forth. So I really like the design behind this card. The first thing that is immediately like noticeable is if you control no cards that you can activate this. This immediately makes it a lot more balanced than Maxx C. One of the biggest issues of Maxx C and one of the reasons why it's like forbidden in the TCG is because of how people can abuse it after they already create an end board. So just having this restriction is already good enough for this card. The other thing I like about this card is it only stops, like, it only works on special summons from the hand. It's not like a card that is really, really oppressive on that regard. Some decks outright just lose to this card. Like, for example, Danger variants, Cardians, Fluunderies, Ashen, decks that has Bestial monsters, Rescue Ace, Fire Kings. These are all decks that just like do multiple normal and slash special summons from the hand, meaning that these archetypes are just going to be falling victim to this card. But that doesn't hold true for other archetypes. There are other archetypes that really just don't care about that restriction, like Centurion, Branded, um, like some other strategies very similar to that, like don't really care about uh like special summoning from the hand. They special summon from elsewhere. So I say this card is balanced in the sense that it's not a surefire card that you can just main deck. Another really cool thing about this card is the fact that it's a level 4 water aqua. You can pair this card in other strategies and use it as like part of your engine. Tier Laments is a really good example of this. Um, decks that like decks like the Shark deck, uh, decks that can just like rank for spam. Uh, those are all decks that can utilize this card. Just being a level 4 monster makes it really cool. Having 100 attack means that you can make Almirage with it as well. Now I'm gonna talk about the last part of the effect, which is during the end phase. If you have more cards in your hand than your number of cards your opponent controls, +6, shuffle random cards from your hand into the deck equal to the difference. So I also like that effect. First, the cards that you shuffle are random, so you don't get to choose which cards are like getting put back. It's not like Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, where you can just craft your hand and just like fix it in any way you like. So activating this card could be risky in the sense that uh, your opponent could just try to give you enough cards on purpose just so you can shuffle cards back into your deck and just make it so you don't have like specific cards already in your opening hand. I also like this card in the sense that it's not a really oppressive card that has a lingering effect that is like changing the course of the duel. You're just basically giving your opponent a choice on how they play the game while you're resolving this card. And this is a good trend when it comes to hand traps because as of late, like the older hand traps that we have in the game, some of them just like are really good at what it needs to do for the like health of the game. However, they just have like an aura of being very oppressive in certain matchups to that just outright end the duel like when resolved against your opponent. An example of this is like Droll and Lockbird. Like Droll and Lockbird is a card that once it resolves, it shuts down a lot of different decks. Another example of this would be like Dimension Shifter. The Dimension Shifter is a really good card in design that helps like the lower tier decks. However, Dimension Shifter is a really oppressive lingering hand trap that can just outright end the turn for a couple of strategies. And it's not to say that they're not allowed to give us like powerful lingering effects in the game, but I think most people won't be like as repressed to see that they have a choice on their plays. Just the opponent is benefiting from them more than a lingering hand trap is being activated and now ends the turn, and it might just outright just decide or dictate the duel, depending on the matchup. But yeah, those are like the things I kind of wanted to say about this card. I feel like this is a very good step in the right direction. I hope the other Multchummy monsters are just as good as this one. And like I said, the bold prediction that I have is that the other Multchummy monsters are going to be like handling special summons from other zones or from like other locations. So if they end up doing something like that, I think that's going to be like very healthy for the game. Like just give Just to give you an example, let's say they make like a Multchummy monster that works like for monster summons in the main deck and the extra deck, and they make another Multchummy monster for monsters like in the graveyard or banishment. I think that would be a really cool theme. That would be like a really cool like gimmick, and just give it the same restriction, just not having to control any monsters. If you're using multiple Multchummies, yes, that is like multiple summons from multiple instances, but take note that one, you're using two Multchummy monsters. Two, you're still under the restriction of shuffling your hand equal to a difference of cards if you have just way too many cards in your hand than what your opponent is controlling. But yeah, uh, that's it from me. I hope you found this video informative to your liking and understanding. More videos coming soon. Keep practicing and keep dueling.